Hey settlers, I'm your host Ben, and here is a hidden story that I feel needs telling. Please like and subscribe for more true stories that might just get lost in time. The Night Over Broadway, a Cotswold UAP encounter, 1984. Now, the Cotswolds don't get many stories like this, not like Roswell or indeed Rendlesham. But if you ask around in Broadway, Worcestershire, and I mean really ask, you might get an old name whispered at the pub, The Night Over Broadway. It was 1984, cold for May. The sun had dipped low, casting long shadows over the hills. A local running group, just 6 of them, had met for their usual Tuesday circuits along the ridge near Fish Hill. Nothing unusual in this at all. Until they looked up. Now, this group calls themselves the Hilltop Striders, just a handful of regulars, these being Jim Harker, in his 40s, a plumber by trade, solid legs with few words. Roz, a retired teacher, wiry and cheerful. Ian and Jackie, the newlyweds, always running together, always laughing. Martin, a shy teenager from a little bit further away, Chipping Camden. And Sue, who worked at the local garage barely half a mile away and never missed a chance to get together on a Tuesday. They met as usual at the car park near Broadway Tower. The view from there stretches all the way over to the Malverns. On a clear day, you can even see the Welsh hills. It was bright when they set off, golden hour, long shadows, clear skies. That quickly changed. About 20 minutes into their run, near the tree line just below the tower, Ian was the first to notice it. He stopped jogging and started to walk and then amble, and everyone else noticed. A light, bright but not blinding, hovering. At first they thought a plane was banking oddly or a helicopter, but of course there was no sound. It didn't move like an aircraft, it pulsated, greenish white with a bit of amber, then it seemed to split into two. Roz joked that it looked like an egg trying to make up its mind. Then it began to, quote-unquote, stagger. That's the word they all use later, like it wasn't in full control, one half drifting while the other spun slowly. Sue described it best. It was like it was struggling with gravity or forgetting how it worked. They stood, frozen, necks craned, hearts pounding. The object or objects hung for what they guessed was a few minutes. But time got weird. Everyone later said that they felt stretched, like seconds were slower or repeating. Then came the hum. Not heard, but felt. Like it was sat behind the eardrum, a low vibration that made Roz stumble. Then light. A wash of colour that didn't land on the trees or the path, just lit them inside. Green, purple, orange with no source, like someone turned the world's contrast dial up to maximum. And then, just as suddenly, it vanished, like it had been wiped from the sky. And the wind returned and the atmosphere came back. Everything snapped back. They were shaken, no doubt, but they laughed it off, said it was strange. One for the books, Jim muttered. They headed back to the car park, chatting nervously. But as they approached their vehicles, they saw the problem. It was nearly 1 a.m. They started their run, as they always do, at 7:30 p.m. Sunset was just before 9. They remembered standing still for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But 4 hours had passed. When they got home, they found angry partners, missed calls, police messages. And that's when the dream started. Each of them reported strange visions over the coming weeks. Roz saw impossible geometries in her sleep, shapes that folded in on themselves. Martin heard music he couldn't place, sometimes even while awake. Jackie began to experience lost time whilst driving. Sue dreamt of standing on the hill again, but the sky was red and somehow wrong. Only Jim said that he felt fine, or was he too proud to admit anything? But they all kept seeing things, always at dusk, always near Fish Hill or Broadway Tower. Once they met up again, just to talk, not to run, but it was different. They couldn't look each other in the eye. A shared experience should have brought them together, but instead it seemed to push them all apart. They couldn't connect with each other anymore. The visions continued for years, not every night, not often every week, but always the same tone, the same light, the same feeling, until it stopped. Not gradually, it just stopped. On a Wednesday. The same Wednesday that Jim Harker died. Heart attack, they said, no warning, out on a plumbing job, nothing untoward. He hadn't been in touch with any of the others for years, really, but a day or two after Jim's death, every member of the Hilltop Striders felt it. A deep, sudden quiet, an absence of colour. None of them had a vision ever again. They never went to press, never tried to investigate it. There were no photos, no recordings, just memory and silence. Sue moved north. Ian and Jackie divorced. Roz passed away in 2010. Martin, he's still in the area, but absolutely does not talk about it. But if you ever see him near the tower at dusk, staring out over fields, you'll know why. And you'll notice something else. He never stays after dark. Now, in a sort of way, I'd love to tell you that this ended with someone being abducted, that they found a device in their leg or were summoned to a military facility, and one of them had to return to the hill on a specific date and a specific time, and that Richard Dreyfuss was one of the main runners. I'd love to tell you that they all bonded like they do in every Steven Spielberg film. But this isn't that kind of story. As far as we know, aside from the shared time slip and some unexplained visions, that was it. Jim's death wasn't suspicious. Not really. His family had a history of heart conditions, and he was fully aware of the risks. He just never voiced them to the group. There were no men in black, no calls in the night, and maybe that's what makes it stranger. Sometimes real stories don't escalate, they just are. They experienced something inexplicable, yes, and then it was gone. And rather than bringing them closer, it pulled them apart. They never really met up again. The only reason this true story exists at all is because of one person's trust in another. Martin finally did tell someone, quietly, carefully. And now you know too. Make of that what you will. Thank you for staying with me. If you got this far, you clearly like lost stories. Thusly, I recommend this story right here. Oh, and why not give us a like and a subscribe and a follow too? That's always useful.